This is the Basketball Show. What they gonna say next?
Hello and welcome to the Basketball Show. We are proudly brought to you by TCL Mobile and Chemist Warehouse, along with our broadcast partners Kayo and News Corp. I'm Jo Healy alongside Shane the Hammer Heel. Shane, it's been a big week for basketball in Australia with Andrew Bogut announcing his retirement. What was your first thought when you heard the news?
Well, I hadn't heard, and I came home and my wife said, "Did you hear Andrew Bogut retired?" I was like, "Oh, you're kidding." No way. I was so disappointed because I think that we'd sort of ridden that wave that he was going to go to the Olympics and hopefully get that elusive medal for the first time. And unfortunately, he'll retire just like all of the other boomers before him without the medal.
I think that's the one thing that he ends his career without. He obviously had such a success in the NBA for 14 years, so many great tributes coming in throughout the last couple of days as well. You played with him at his first Olympics, your last. What was that experience like?
Interesting. He was different. I mean, he was 19 years of age. He was so cocky, so focused on being able to succeed. They were talking about him being number one. He was so single-minded about what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. Unbelievable talent, unbelievable work ethic and a passion for the game that really set him apart from a lot of other big players I'd ever played with. So he was special, and obviously went on to have an unbelievable career, one of the best passers we've ever seen. And I think a lot of the younger people wouldn't recognise what he actually did in the NBA when he played for Milwaukee. I mean, it was 16 and 10 and 2.5 blocks a game. He was a superstar, unbelievable mobility, great defender and shot blocker.
Yeah, I think it stings a little bit because he didn't really reach his full potential. He missed 30% of his games. He was riddled by injuries, and you mentioned his work ethic. He had to work extra hard to come back from those. I would have loved to have seen him go around one more time because you just want to see the best players play forever.
Yeah, and I think he had so much to offer the Boomers. Even if he wasn't playing a whole lot of minutes, his experience in the locker room, and particularly with a lot of the young NBA guys that don't understand what it means to be a Boomer. There's a culture that gets handed down from generation, and he's one of those guys with Joe Ingles and Patty Mills that can do that, but he's hard as well. He'll say what he thinks, and I think that's important with some of the superstars coming through as well. But let's hope that he stays involved with the Boomers program. He'd be a great assistant coach.
Exactly right. We spoke to him at work and Fox Sports News when the announcement happened, and I did ask him, is there a spot working with Brian? You've got such a good relationship from when he coached the Boomers previously. How good would that be, and how key would that be also for him to play a small part in potentially getting that medal?
Yeah, and we've seen how popular Luke Longley was and the impact that Luke had on the Boomers as well. And I think Bogues would be very different to Luke, but have the same sort of success and impact that Luke's had as well. So fingers crossed. It would be great to see both of them involved and some of these past Boomers passing on some of the hints to the younger guys, and let's hope they can get a medal.
Question without notice, do you have a favourite story of your time that you did play with Bogues that you're allowed to tell us?
No, not really. I just think that he was just so unique for what I'd played with before. Some of the guys got frustrated with him because we would have a win and he hadn't played well, and he would not be happy. And normally as a player you sort of brush it away because the team's won, but he was so focused on being successful himself and contributing. I loved it. I actually loved his passion.
Well, I caught up with his former Kings teammate Brad Newley the other day when the announcement happened, and he had a little message for us here at the Basketball Show.
What's up, Joe and Hammer? Thanks for having me on the Basketball Show. Big news out of the Sydney Kings camp today that the legendary Andrew Bogut is hanging up his boots. He's going to be sorely missed. He did such a great job for the club, got the fans back, averaged about 10,000, got us to the grand final. The guy had a remarkable career both here and abroad. NBA champion, world junior champion, multiple Olympics. What more can you say about the guy? Let's just wish him the best in the next phase of his life. Thanks for having me.
All right, big thanks to Brad Newley, and there's no doubt the Kings will miss him, but also the NBL will miss him. Previous MVP only 2 years ago, he was a superstar and brought so much profile to Australian basketball.
Right, we will leave that there now. We're going to get into Hammer's Hunch. Focusing on the WNBL, the finals aren't too far away. Let's take out the bottom three for now and focus on the rest. Where are we with this?
Well, we're down to a race of 5. The Flyers are still well on top. They might not be on the ladder, but as far as their talent and the way they're playing, they have to be the favourites right now to be able to get it done. Then it's a race. And I tell you, between Townsville and the Caps, for me, either will finish second. And big game coming up where those two teams play against each other, obviously over the next week or so. But the two teams that I think are really going to battle for that 4th spot, and I think Boomers are going to get it, and Adelaide will drop off a little bit. I just think that they don't have the same sort of depth as what the Boomers do. But they have to make up an extra 2 or 3 games over the next 10 days compared to the other teams they're playing against.
You mentioned the Capitals and Townsville. Where are those teams matching up best? And I suppose what's the advantage of their matchup in terms of finishing second or third on the table?
Well, I mean, it's tough. It could come down to that head-to-head game about who wins. And they had a great contest that the Caps won earlier in the season. They're better now than what they probably were because Griffin is healthier. And Griffin's playing some great basketball, but the Fire's shooting the ball second best in the league at 45%. So I think they've got the scoring power and the balanced attack to be able to compete with those best teams. And it wouldn't surprise me to see them sneak in second and the Caps third.
I asked you about the MVP last week. Now that we're a week on, do you still feel the same way, or has somebody else impressed you in the last 7 days?
You can't go past Liz, can we? I mean, she's
playing well.
22 points a game in 22 minutes and 9 rebounds. I mean, it's almost, you multiply that out. She's averaging like 40 and 18 almost. It's unbelievable stats, and she's doing it, however she wants.
How do teams stop her? And do you see a certain team matching up better than others and being able to stop it?
Well, I think with Tolo on the team for the Caps, that's a good matchup for them with that experience and size. Most of the other teams don't have that sort of size to be able to really compete. Maybe the Boomers, we've seen them have success, but they showed an unbelievable 3-point percentage the game they won, and we haven't seen that since.
All right, well, as always here on the Basketball Show, we've got our TCL starting 5. The NBL season, Hammer, isn't too far away now. What are we hearing in terms of what the season is going to look like, what the schedule is going to look like?
Well, a lot of rumours going around. A lot of talk that there might be, that there might be a few more games than what they played last year. So, Not sure everybody's overly happy with that. But so many different scenarios that the league's got to worry about with COVID and restrictions in different states and travel and everything else. So, talk that there may be some sort of hub to be able to start the season. But we couldn't get too much information out of the NBL, to be honest. They wouldn't tell us much.
Keeping quiet, but we'll find out in due course, no doubt. Let's take a look at a couple of the teams. Melbourne United and Jock Landale, is he going to light up the NBL next season?
Well, fingers crossed that they can sign him. I mean, he's been training with them the whole off-season waiting for this NBA deal to happen. Not sure that it's going to. All Melbourne United fans will hope that it doesn't, because if he is putting on one of their jerseys, they go straight to title contention again. He's a star. He was so good for the Boomers, his role and size and mobility. He's smart with the game as well. They're putting together a nice roster.
So why isn't he in the NBA? Is he NBA quality?
I think he is. I think he's an NBA player, and sometimes you just need another summer league. You need somebody to really believe in you, to give you a guaranteed contract. And obviously that hasn't happened to this stage. Hopefully for him it does. I think he will be in the NBA. It's just what time that happens, when that happens, and maybe it's a big season with United that actually takes him to that.
Well, the NBL is certainly getting a lot of exposure from the US in particular. A few teams rather, have organised their imports. Talk me through some of those.
Well, we've got 3 teams that have just named new imports, and I say it every year, is if you looked at all of the highlights and their resumes, you think that they're going to be the best player that's ever come to Australia. So don't get carried away with all that.
Let's hope so.
Well, we do, but I'm too old to buy into all of that fluff every single time. I want to see them on court playing with their teammates. But one person that is coming back is Hobson. Scotty Hobson was absolutely
Melbourne
unbelievable.
United as well. Imagine if they've got Jock Landale too.
He is such a good player and great poise and got some ability to be able to make plays for himself, but his teammates. I just think it's a really good fit, and he's a superstar, and we're lucky to be able to have him back. We spoke about Oliver and Machado last year, and again, we know these guys, so we talk about them and we believe in what they do. Let's hope the new imports can do the same.
The Sydney Kings and the, I want to say, Illawarra Hawks, they're still the Hawks for now. Hopefully they'll be Illawarra again at some point.
Yeah.
The rivalry, talk to me about this. They've got a pre-season game coming up.
Well, that's on December 20th at Kudos Bank Arena, and Paul Smith, we want courtside seats.
Yes, please.
It's going to be a good one, and the rivalry's real because Gorgian won 3 championships with the Sydney Kings. So, being able to bring him back into the mix, there's going to be a lot of people looking to see what sort of roster he puts together as far as what talent they actually bring and how they play together. But Gorge always recruits well. He always gives him a chance to be able to win. He wouldn't have, signed if it was going to be a small budget and there were no chance to win a championship. So they become legit this season.
Talking about recruitment and the Hawks improving, there are quite a few teams that have recruited really, really well in this off-season. I'm quite looking forward to seeing them.
Well, if you look at 4 of the teams that did not make the playoffs last year, I refer to New Zealand, who have now got probably the most local talent in the competition, Brisbane, who are right there with them as well, and Southeast Melbourne, who have recruited extremely well in the off-season, and we just spoke about Illawarra. All those 4 teams are expecting to make the top 4 this year. A couple of them might even be title favourites, and none of them made it last year. Incredible.
Are there any teams that you are slightly concerned about at this point?
I think we have to see the imports. I don't get too high or too low until we see them on court, because if we did, we wouldn't have thought the Cairns could make the top 4 last year.
Yeah, true.
So I think we need to see new talent. Can't wait for it. I mean, Adelaide are probably going to be the underdogs of the competition. But again, Josh Giddey's going to be a superstar. A couple of new imports as well, and some big guys. They'll play a different style, so looking forward to seeing that.
Round 4 of the WNBL season is Lifeline Round. Mental health is such a big part of our society and a really important topic. This week's In Depth, brought to you by Chemist Warehouse, focuses on mental health with Southside's Jenna O'Hay and Sarah Blitzarves.
This year for everyone has been just a schmozzle. So I think I've just had my ups and downs and been trying to ride those waves as best as I can. Some days I'm okay, some days I'm not so good, but being up here in the hub and actually having a WNBL season has been a great ending to 2020.
Yeah, not a great year for anyone, to be honest, but we all had to go through it, and it's nice that WNBL could have a season up in North Queensland as well. We're very lucky, so at least we get to play the sport that we love, and we're in a beautiful place.
Well, what a great segment. And I love the fact that sports people can put their hands up and say, you know what, I'm going to bring awareness to mental health and let everybody know that it's all right. A lot of people go through it. Everyone that has either got a friend, a family member, or dealing with those sort of problems, especially during COVID. It's a time now to really be aware of it and make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah, great work by the girls, by the league as a whole. I think every time somebody does speak about it, it's just another opportunity to check in with yourself, check in with the people around you as well, and it's obviously such an important topic. The girls and the Southside Flyers are also donating for every assist that they make over this round, which is another great thing. I've got to give a shout out to Cam Luke as well. He said that he'll donate $750 for Liz Cambage to do a dunk. Liz, please, come on, you got this. Let's get it out of his pocket.
How tight is Cam Luke? Can you give us something a little bit more achievable? Gee whiz.
Oh, I love that. So funny. All right, time now, Hammer, for a few of my favourite things. Just a quick rip around social media. This first one isn't necessarily basketball related. It is Sarah Fuller. She became the first female to play college football in the US, in the Power 5. She kicked off their second half. That's the only play that she made, unfortunately, because the team weren't doing so well. They ended up losing 41-0 or something like that. But the point is, she's making massive grounds for women in sport. She's helping to break that glass ceiling, and it's truly just quite inspiring to see. And I think it's really powerful. So good on her. it kind of translates into my next one, which is Shyla, actually. Just with one of the fans at the WNBL. I love this picture. The caption, you can't see it there, but it just says that the young girl is meeting one of her heroes.
Oh,
we heard the other week Abby Cabillo. Do you remember her saying that Lauren Jackson actually went to her school when she was young, and that was her inspiration for now playing in the WNBL herself? So I think just in line with this whole empowerment, it plays a really big part.
There's no doubt, and no different than Shyla looking up to someone like Penny Taylor, when she's growing up as well. No,
exactly right. It's really, really great to see. My last one is a little bit more lighthearted. We love a bit of dancing here on the basketball show. A little bit of TikTok hammer. This is Zatina Okuso. They are absolutely rocking it. Now, Hammer, I'm putting this to you.
Rocking it?
Yeah.
I've got no rhythm, so I don't really know. But
well, what I want to put on the table right now is you've told me that you've got no rhythm, but I want you and the girls to put together a TikTok for us for the show next week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead set.
I don't know about that.
Come
I haven't
on.
got any of that in me. I've got no rhythm. Can't do it. Can't sing or dance. We'll see what we can do.
7 days from now, we're going to have one. Love it. All right, let's go around the country to our reporters who are courtside. Renee Garlop is up first, and she's actually speaking about Zatina Okuso.
Hey guys, this week I want to highlight some of the comeback queens of 2020. All three of these ladies missed last season for various reasons. First up, Zatina Okuso. Zatina is having her best season to date. While missing last year with a knee injury, she comes in this season in great shape and is looking more and more comfortable as the games go on. She's helping the Fire with averaging 9 points and 5 boards in 19 minutes. She's also shooting at 53%, which is a 7% improvement on her career best. Next up is Michaela Roof. Michaela trained the entire year with the Caps last season, and the feedback out of the Caps camp was how much value she not only added on the training court, but to the team's overall culture. Props to any player that can bring it day in, day out, knowing that they could potentially not play. With the wait for her citizenship now over, she rounds out a very well-balanced Canberra Capitals, providing what any team would want off the bench, reflected in her 7 points and 7 boards in 18 minutes. Lastly, Mia Murray. Mia missed the last few years with the birth of her little boy, Sydney. She now slots straight into the Fire's starting role, and while Nicholson and Heel are dominating the major statistical categories, she's providing a very stabling influence to the team, giving leadership, smarts, and timely shot making, and no doubt great banter to the locker room. Congrats to all three.
Another great segment. Renee Garlop, she's getting better every week, setting a higher standard. Good stuff. And I love the fact that there was 3 different scenarios between injury and waiting for permanent residency and having a baby, of course. Great segment.
Yeah, certainly. Really good to just help expose some of the stories that are going around the league. There's a lot of different situations, a lot of really interesting players, not only killing it on the court, but also in their personal lives. Time to hear from Derek Rucker as well, something a little different this week.
All right, thank you guys very much. It's been exciting round 3, or are we up to round 4 of the WNBL season? The girls continue to play very well. Canberra came off a disappointing loss last night, but they still sit atop of the WNBL ladder, tied with the Southside Flyers. Now I'm going to bring in the spirit of the WNBL, I'm going to bring in a couple of my young DRB female athletes. This is Katie Diebel of the Center of Excellence. Katie is a young Gold Coast player. How was your first year at the COE, Katie?
My first year's been pretty good. I've loved working with the coaches and the girls there.
An upcoming point guard, Hammer, so we've got a soft spot for her. Who's your favorite WNBL player?
It would have to be Jade Melbourne.
Ugh, Jade, say something. Just don't go with life because she's hot. You're going to say Jade Melbourne. Is she your buddy?
Yeah, Jade's my girl.
Okay, all right. And over here we've got India Bauya. Did I say that right? How do I pronounce it?
Boya.
Boya. We've got India Boya. And India's from Cairns. India's, along with Katie, they're both part of the Australian program. Katie's on the under 16 and under 17 Australian team. And India is a part of the under 17 Australian team, hoping to make that team whenever there's another international tournament. Now, how have you found the WNBL in Cairns so far?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good exposure for the young girls there that's coming up in basketball. And it's just good seeing them experience all the stuff in Cairns and traveling and stuff. It's good.
Who do you really like as a player in the WNBL?
Kelsey Griffin.
Kelsey Griffin. Okay, that's one that surprised me. I thought you'd go with a more athletic wing player, but Kelsey's a fantastic player for the Canberra Capitals and a championship winner and an MVP. So these two girls are part of the Derek Rucker basketball. Two girls I'm very proud of. They have talent, they have the great attitude, and they have the work ethic. And when you have those three things, as you know, Shane, success isn't far away. So hopefully these girls one day will make the WNBL, and until then, keep track of them, follow their progress. Guys, back to you in the studio.
All right, good stuff from Derek, and I love the fact he's introducing some of the up-and-coming superstars to the audience that they might not know them yet, but expect to see some of those young ladies in the WNBL soon.
Speaking of talent, it's time for our top 10 plays of the week. Take a look. After a week off, the Boomers came out firing. Tess Madgen's step-back three is kicking us off at number 10. Darcy Garvin gets a nod at 9 for this move in the paint, the Lynx snapping a 4-game losing streak in the process. At 8, Mia Murray helped the Fire to a big win over the Flames. She was pretty much in the car park with that one. Number 7 this week is Tess Lavey, who bought the moves in her 200th game, wrong-footing Emma Clark for the easy finish in the end. How's this for a block at number 6? Lauren Scherf shut it down in D in the first quarter of the Flames clash with the Fire. Now, when we say the players hit the floor this week, we really do mean it. At 5, how's the dime from Steph Talbot as the Lightning managed to just avoid the shot clock violation? At the other end, Liz Cambage quite literally forced her way through 2 defenders. She finished with 25 points in the Flyers' huge win. Number 3 is Shyla Hill. The player of the round exploded to the hoop for the finish and the and one. Talia Tapaya is having a huge impact for the Caps this season. Number 2 is this drive and dish for the win against the Lynx. And it's another buzzer beater coming in at number 1. The Capitals' Brittany Smart is as cool as you like with the Hail Mary. And that, ladies and gents, wraps up our top 10 plays of the week.
Well, great highlights, but I want to say, Jade Melbourne for 3. She's 18 years of age. Surely that's number 1.
Do you want to put this together yourself?
No, I don't. I like yours. I like the way you do it.
Zip it.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. You're right. It was a great shot. It was quite difficult to distinguish between a lot of those highlights this week because there have been so many. But if you do want to take the reins, feel free.
No, well done. A lot of great plays. Thank you.
Right, that is all we've got time for this week. Shane and I will, of course, be back next week. Thank you so much to TCL Mobile and Chemist Warehouse. We'll see you soon.
This is a co-production by News Corp Australia and Closer Sport.